छन्दिया बजु छान बेलरी लागला बेलरीका घाममा छन्दिया बजु छान बेलरी लागला बेलरीका घाममा नाके किन तुली नाक मेरोली हाथ की कुटली हाथ मेरोली लागला बेलरी का घामा लागला बेलरी का घामा छन्दिया बजु छान बेलरी लागला बेलरी का
So we're standing at the entrance to Dharma Farms factory, and this is where it all happens. Come, let me show you.
Come.
Inside. These are cheese making vats. Here we have the chiller. So our milk comes in the morning, and it's pasteurized
Can we go there and
in the vats. And after pasteurization, we put it in the chiller to bring it down to optimum temperature.
I see.
And then we add culture and rennet. And now this curd has set and it's been cut and it's ready for cooking. Once the curd has cooked, it'll be drained and then set in molds.
I see.
And
So can we have a look at this? What's happening here?
it's the same.
The same process?
Yeah, it's the same cheese and they're
But it looks very different. If you can have a close-up of this, because that's very different from this right now.
It is the same cheese, however.
Yeah.
This hasn't been cut.
Yeah. Great. And what are these equipments that you have?
This is just, the labels and blocks. But these are the cheese presses right here. This is the cheese mold. And once the curd has been put in with a cheesecloth, we put these in here
I see.
to press it down. And then we use weights to put
Further
pressure on
firm
and
it.
then it forms a round.
And what are these made of? Are these like the world over? Do they use? Do they use?
Pine.
I see.
Yes, pine is.
Does that add?
Well, wood actually, interestingly, has a very high antibacterial quality.
I see.
In fact, chopping boards also they recommend you use wooden ones because
Right.
they are more hygienic and they have this.
So what about, in India, here in the north, because we are in the pine forest area, I guess that's why you are making
this is fine.
use of the resource that you have.
Absolutely.
But usually are they wooden or are they metal?
Well, in factories which are highly mechanized, everything is metal. And optimally, it has to be steel because milk and any milk products are acidic and they will react with any other metal.
I see.
So that won't be safe.
Well, I guess that is why your cheese is the real artisan cheese.
Yes,
You
because
see?
that is the definition
That is
of artisan. It's handmade.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can we have a look?
So once the cheese has been molded overnight, it is taken out and kept on this table
I see.
to age or acidify for the day until it reaches, a certain level of acidity. Okay. Once it has achieved that, which usually takes 12 hours, then we take it and we put it into brine.
I see.
And these are our brine tanks right here. Now we have, this is the salting process.
I see. So, obviously before that there is no salt in the cheese. And how many hours does it stay in there?
Depending on the weight of the cheese. So if it's a small cheese, 12 hours. If it's 3 to 5 kilos, it could be 24 hours. Some cheeses, maybe even longer.
And is it regular salt that you use?
Yeah. But it has to be, this salinity of it has to be, maintained because
Careful.
the cheese is absorbing a lot of salt, so you have to maintain it at a certain level.
I see.
For which
Is it possible for us to have a peek into that?
Yeah, sure. This is Gruyere, which was made yesterday.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Delicious. For the eyes right now. Great. And
Once the brining is done, the following day we put it in the aging room.
I see.
So I'll take it in there.
And what's the temperature in there?
Temperature is
11 degrees?
14 degrees centigrade.
That's it?
Yeah. And at a humidity of 85 to 90.
I see.
We have to maintain that, otherwise, you have very dry cheese.
I see.
So this is a rack of Parmesan,
Okay.
which actually has to be aged.
Yes, so how long?
Minimum 2 years.
Yes. So is this going to be there for 2 years then? Or is it still going out?
It's still going out because people are willing to buy it much younger and they
Sure,
want it.
sure.
But ideally, Parmesan is not Parmesan unless it's 2 years.
Correct.
So it takes time.
And what's...
That is Tom,
I see.
okay, and higher up is Farmhouse Cheddar.
I see.
There is more.
So the coloring is different for each one of them?
No, as it ages, it changes color. It becomes browner.
I see.
Let me see. We had some old. But it turns a richer brown.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this is about a day old.
I see.
So it still has a very milky look.
Correct.
And then as it dries, it becomes like that.
I see.
It gets a deeper yellow.
Okay.
This side.
Where's your Zarai? That's...
Gruyere, that is in the other.
I see.
These are Gruyères. Those are honey Montesios,
I see.
which is after a couple of weeks, we rub them with honey.
I see. So it's on top you're rubbing it
Yeah.
with honey. Okay.
That gives it flavor. This is the next batch going to Delhi.
Okay.
It's ready to eat.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, the way you've just planned it all out and it's all in order and the hygiene is maintained so beautifully.
Oh, yeah. Because we are working with bacteria, we just have to maintain, hygiene is never enough. Right?
So are there any new strains that you have developed or are you working on developing new strains here or have they been bought from obviously cheddar and...
No, we use CHR Hansen cultures.
Okay.
It takes, the laboratory if you're going to develop your own strains.
Right.
We don't get it.
I see. Wonderful.
So I'll show you the other.
Yeah. Will it shut on its own? Power backup and everything is there.
We have a generator,
Okay.
but it's an uphill task actually, working in a remote area.
Oh, smells divine, this room.
So these are all the spicy cheeses.
I see. Can you tell us what's what?
So this is a chili garlic.
Okay.
Okay. It has garlic and obviously it has chili.
Lovely.
These are chili bombs, which are only chili.
I see.
We had a lot of customers telling us, give us something that just goes.
But what is the cheese? Is it?
It's the same cheese.
Is the same cheese?
It's the
Okay.
same cheese, but,
Okay.
And down there is the rye. This is also rye.
All Zarai.
Yeah, and these are more chili bombs. These are in great demand, so you have to.
Right. So how long are they going to remain on the shelf?
It is our youngest cheese.
Okay.
This age is only for 1 month.
Okay.
The rest, minimum 45 days.
Minimum 45 days. So which is your age-old cheese? Parmesan is one.
Gruyere.
Okay, Gruyere is...
actually is the best after, say, 4 or 5 months. It develops a lovely flavor.
I see.
But again, we find that customers are quite happy with a 3-month-old Gruyere also.
I see.
But a 6-month-old Gruyere has a lovely, sweet, nutty flavor which is just amazing. But
Wow.
it takes time. So,
Perfect. Wonderful. So now that we've done this quick cheese tour, let's go sit under a tree,
yeah, sure.
under some shade, and have a nice conversation. Hello, hi. Welcome to Himalayan Echoes. This session is titled Artisan Cheese, Sustainable Culture in Kumaon. And with me is Pritam Bhatty, who handles the operations for Dharma Farms, which is making its mark on the cheese map of India. Right now we are sitting in the farm where the cheese factory is. It's based in Kumaon in Uttarakhand. And our association with Dharma Farms has been since the last 3 years. Every year during our Himalayan Echoes Festival, they've been really generous with offering their cheese for our authors' dinner over the wine and cheese evenings. And we've lapped them up every year. So this year I thought, why not come to the root of it all and have a look how it's being made in the factory. And have a chat with Pritam, who works so hard behind the scenes. And it's lovely to be here today, Pritam. We are very excited to do the cheese tour with you. But before that, let's have a quick chat and get to know more about how this all started. How are you creating this magic out of milk in this village, in this beautiful setting?
Place, yeah. So basically, Dharma Farms is the brainchild of Saurabh, Vinayak, and Arvind Chawla, and their original idea was to get into berry farming, and growing herbs and organic vegetables. And then Saurabh, said that there is a lot of milk in the area, and maybe we should consider getting into cheese. And it's always been Saurabh's, intention to work with the community. And actually, that is the most satisfying part of this whole enterprise, is that we're working with at least 15 villages around us. And so in 2016, we started with 5 cows and 20 liters of milk. And, over the first year and a half, it was part of our learning curve, because, cheese is quite a challenging thing to really master. But of the last 3 years, we've been taking milk from, the surrounding around 15 villages. We've got about 5 collection centers where we take milk. We give them, a much better rate than the local dairy gives them.
How? Tell me how when you started with the idea and you actually started making cheese and motivating the people around the villagers, how challenging was that journey really to sort of convince them that, hey, listen, we're doing something really different and constructive? How did you manage to sort of motivate them to come to you and be a part of your community?
Yes. So initially, actually, the villagers and the pradhans were very suspicious about, bade log, they've come to do something. Heaven knows what's in it for us, and they might pack up overnight and leave us, in the lurch. So we approached the women's federations actually to talk to the women, and we had a lot of meetings, with the Pradhan present as well, and the women's organizations, and we explained to them. We had a meeting here at the factory where we took them around the whole process, what kind of milk, how we use it, what the end product is. and of course we give them a very competitive price for the milk compared to the dairy. So it is direct benefits the farmer directly.
Is
You
it-
know, there's no middle person involved.
Right. That, I mean, that's wonderful if
Yeah.
you can break that middleman
Yeah.
scenario. And because you are in the hub of it, you're in direct contact with them, so it cuts
Yes, yes.
cuts that from happening. What percentage of women are working as a part of the Dharma cheese farm?
We
Are there more than
yeah,
the
definitely.
male force?
Yeah. In fact, we weren't sure how the local men would take to basically, you know, cooking milk and, you know, bartan dhona. And, you know, there's a lot of dhona actually because hygiene has to be maintained at a very high level. But surprisingly, we have two young boys who happily joined us. Otherwise, we were a team of 4 women. So now we have two young boys also, and you know, they're very enthusiastic about learning. They love cheese. All of them are actually quite addicted to cheese now. It was something they didn't know anything about. They'd never even tasted it. And in fact, once a local postman came to deliver my parcel, and I said, "आपने हमारा cheese चखा नहीं है?" So he tasted very politely. And then he met our manager up the road and he said, "आज तो मैंने आपका डालडा खाया है." So, you know, that gives you some idea of what people think of cheese.
Of cheese.
But so it was actually my two original cheese makers are now so experts. They can tell one cheese from the other. They understand bacteria. They understand
Right.
flavor, culture. It's been great actually. That journey with them is taking them along this, and you know they are experts in their own right.
Right. And are more people wanting to now sort of join you in this
Oh, certainly, because working at a factory has a different status altogether. So, yes, we have a lot of people coming, but there is a misconception about working in the factory because, as I said, there's a lot of cleaning work. So that is not, you know, very high up there.
Sure,
So
sure.
a lot of young girls then don't show up again.
Right.
Because
I think you being here sort of is that sort of a buffer, you know, which Saurabh or Arvind wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to sort of
yeah, yeah.
um,
Yeah.
cover.
Well, I don't go for the meetings as much as Devan does because he's able to connect, you know,
Right.
with them much better
Because
than
you
I
see,
can.
the hill folk are at the end of the day, there's so much of caste issues
Oh,
at the end of
yes.
the day.
Yes, yes,
What you
yes.
can do, what you should
Yeah,
not do.
yeah,
Can
yeah.
you wash utensils
Yeah,
or not?
yeah,
Who are
yeah.
you working with?
Yeah,
Under
definitely.
who? Where do they come from?
Yeah.
You know, so those are and family pressures. They rather
Yeah.
work in the fields or
Yeah.
in the kitchen at home.
Yeah.
Than go out. So I think
Well,
it's really sort of empowered these women.
Definitely. In fact, when we first started with the Women's Federation, there is one group in Rita which makes cattle fodder. You know, they grind the corn and the you know, the oil cake and the bran and all that. They put it together, and we were taking cattle feed from them, and we were supporting them as well. But now we have reduced the cows in our dairy. In fact, we have been selling our cows to the villagers, you know, at a discounted rate, so that the dairy then, you know, is not something that we have to concern ourselves because we find we're getting very good quality milk. So if we can farm out the cows to them and then, you know, they give us the milk, then it means that we just focus on cheese
Production.
making. Yeah.
And how do you sort of, is there any process where you can keep a check on the quality of milk?
Oh, yes. When our boys go out to collect the milk, we have milk analyzers. So we are constantly monitoring the fat content and also
Any
they
adulteration
and
or
adult and also there is in some cases where they boil the milk, take the cream off, and then bring that milk, so they are able to recognize that okay, this is milk that has been skimmed, and that for cheese making is dead milk because you know all the bacteria that would give the cheese flavor has been
Right.
boiled out of it.
So, do you sort of also interact with these cow farmers and sensitize them? Is there any
That's
protocol for that where you
yes.
tell them what the cow should be eating? And
So the local villagers, it's an
because it's a
unfortunate.
full chain, you
Yeah,
see.
it is.
Yeah.
They can't afford cattle feed, and actually, cattle feed is not ideal for cheese making. They ideally should be grass fed, or in our mountains, they feed them a lot of oak.
I see.
And during the monsoon, the women are out there cutting grass, and then they're making lutas
Yes.
and storing grass for the winter. And that is ideal for cheese making.
Oh.
Okay.
So basically, foraging in the wild is much
Yes,
better than a
yes,
proper
yes.
cattle feed.
Yeah. Because the minute a cow is grain fed, it changes the flavor of the cheese. And also, a happy cow in cheese making is a very, very real concept, because if you have your cow, in a long stable tight with many others, they're not getting time outdoors, or, wild grazing, they aren't happy, and it affects the quality of the milk.
Right.
So most of our farmers, dairy farmers, they don't have more than 2 cows. A big farmer may have 5 cows,
Right.
and they are always sent out to graze. So definitely the quality of milk is good.
Right.
Yeah.
So, from what I know, you are an artist as well.
Yes.
And how has it been balancing the two, making artisan cheese and being an artist?
Well, when I moved here, actually, I dropped out of the art world. I had been showing regularly in Bombay and Delhi and all over the country and outside as well. But when I moved here, I wanted a just quiet life and to paint only for myself, which is what I do even now. So that worked out rather well. I mean, I'm here during the cheese making process, and the rest of the day is mine to paint.
Wonderful, wonderful. So about the growth story now. I mean, tell us, how's the competition in the market? There's Amul and there's Govardhan and there's different varieties of Flanders,
So,
and
yeah.
here you have Dharma, which is now sort of on its way up.
Yeah. So, first thing I want to clarify is processed cheese and some of the big brands that we have grown up with is technically not cheese. It has some cheese in it, but it has a lot of additives in terms of emulsifiers, preservatives, sodium citrate, it has salt, it has sugar, it has coloring. Whereas artisanal cheese is handmade, and it just has rennet and culture and flavoring by way of herbs or spices, whatever the cheese might be. So it's a very different process. Processed cheese standardizes the milk. So, milk is not standard throughout the year. Okay, milk changes with the seasons. When you're getting milk from a cow, there may be some days where she's happier and some days, she doesn't produce that much milk, so the fat content goes up. Whereas processed cheese standardizes it. So if the milk has X amount of fat one day, then they will maintain that consistently. And that's how they're able to maintain a consistent flavor. The thing with artisan cheese is, as in winemaking, you have something called terroir, which is a French word that, so it's the climate of the region, the water, what your cows are eating, where they live, everything contributes to the flavor of your cheese. So if we are making a Himalayan Gruyere here, a Himalayan Gruyere, a Gruyere made in Delhi or in Uti or in Kunur or some other place will never taste the same.
see.
Because it's a question of the location.
So you think the cheese that you're creating does match the same taste as any European
It
cheddar or a blue
It
cheese?
cannot.
It cannot.
It
As you
cannot.
said, it's the
Yeah,
temperament is different because of the environment.
So in Europe, like for instance, for Parmesan, they will use a particular breed of cow. In the UK, they will use a particular breed of cow for cheddar. You see, and what they call AOP is like standardization. So the feed is standardized. The geographical location is standardized.
I see.
So any European recipe that we might use here will by definition be Himalayan because it's made in the Himalayan region.
I see.
And the cows here are not all Jersey or not all Holstein. A lot of the villagers have Saiwal, which is a local breed. So the whole
So that's where your innovation should also come to create a Himalayan
yeah
cheese in some sense.
Yeah, so that's what then we decided that let's make a cheese which is specific to the region, which uses specific Himalayan spice. And that's how we started experimenting. And then we made this spice rub cheese, which I called Zarai because the Kumaoni word for Malai is Parai.
I see.
So then we
Said
it
Zarai.
has Zira in it, so we call it Zarai.
Excellent. So, very interesting how this whole enterprise as a social entrepreneurship that is between yourself, Arvind, and Saurabh is panning out. And where do you see yourself in this growth trajectory of growth in the next, say, 3 years? As compared to the cheeses that are being produced maybe in different parts of the country?
Well, I wouldn't know about in detail about cheese being produced in other parts of the country since we live here in this remote place. But yes, that market is definitely growing. I mean, from what I've been told, it's like there are about 150 tons of this kind of cheese being produced in India. And that the market is growing, at the rate of say 6-7%. In that sense, the lockdown in many ways has been good for us because a lot of the European cheese which stopped coming, during that the early days of the lockdown, our artisanal cheese was able to fill that gap in the market. And so I hope that the market grows because we are making good cheese. As good as
So
the cheese
in
coming
some
in.
sense, you're covering that gap which the European market had sort of overtaken. And vocal for local is something that you are,
we are
really promoting that. Yeah, wonderful. So,
currently we are doing about 12 tons a year, and we are hoping to double that in the next year or so, which will mean expanding the facility, but the basic cheese making will remain the same. I mean, we don't mean to mechanize or make the whole thing too automated. We want to maintain the artisanal quality, and let's see where that goes. Let's hope we can do
wonderful.
that. Yeah.
All the best for
Thank
the
you.
future and for now, and some good cheese coming our way. So that is Pritam Bhatty. Whoever wants to come and try some cheese, she is always here in Dharma village. And there's a lovely cheese tour that you can have in this beautiful setting. And there are orchards all around us. There's some mulberries trees growing there. There's cranberry and other stuff growing here. So please come, please Google about them. And surely I think Dharma is going to make a mark in the cheese map of India.
Yes.
And the most wonderful thing that we take away from this is the work that all of you are doing for the community.
Thank you.
Really producing premium quality cheese for the premium market, which is coming from the rural regions of Kumaon. A wonderful story, a wonderful initiative. Thank you so much for being here.
You.
And stay tuned for the next session.
हाय तेरी रुमाला गुलाबी मुखड़ी केवली छजीरे नाक की नथुनी केवली छजीरे नाक की नथुनी हाय तेरी रुमाला चम चम चमके रे माथे की बिंदुली, अरे चम चम चमके रे माथे की बिंदुली.